And yes, please, before you send in your documentation to us, make a photocopy for yourselves. If anything gets lost, at least you have a record. If anything needs to be resent, something goes wrong, you have that original copy. Do us a big favor, no staples anywhere ever in the applications. We don't need any fancy binders. Art students, no binders. Don't put them into this expensive plastic foil or anything. Just simple paper, and just one piece of paper after the other. That's best for us, for our processing here. The deadlines here are postmark deadlines, so we tend to wait about a couple of weeks to make sure we have all the applications here, especially if they're coming from remote areas in Canada or maybe Alaska. All applications must be sent to the New York office, except of course if you're applying to the RISE program or it's stated otherwise on our website. If you want a confirmation, please include a postcard, a self-addressed postcard, preferably stamped, and we can send that right back to you. Otherwise, you have to imagine we have about 450, 500 applications for the graduate program here. We have maybe 200 to 300 for the undergraduate here, and a lot of deadlines are at the same time, so there's a lot of paperwork here. We try to send out confirmations once we have processed most of the applications in one group. So please give us some time, 4 to 6 weeks. If you haven't heard from us by then, please do give us a call. Here are the deadlines again. As I mentioned, big ones, November 1st for the art students, November 15th for all the other students applying for the study scholarship and the research grant, and then the undergraduate scholarship on January 31st. And the address of our website here again, dad.org. This is where you should get the latest information. And this is what you'll be seeing once you get to Germany, and more.
Thank you so much, Britt.
Sure. You're welcome.
I will move away from your screen. And now we will start the question and answer session. So there's a lot of questions that have been coming in, and I encourage you to still submit them as we go through this. The first one is a general question this is for this graduate study scholarship. Is an independent study or a degree-seeking study preferable? Which one does the committee prefer?
My colleague Myung-Shin is not here at this point, but I think at this point there is no preference. We've seen the number of applicants go up applying for the graduate, for the master's programs. But we still have students applying for the study scholarship doing independent study, and if you have a great reason, a great project before you return to North America, maybe to get a professional degree or whatnot, we would love to see your application here.
The next question is about PhD students. If they're applying for a PhD that would start in fall of 2010, they want to know if they would apply this year for a scholarship or next year. I guess that's the first half of the question, so we'll start with that.
Yes. Anybody wanting to start studies in Germany in the fall of 2010 needs to apply now, which is our next deadline. Is either the November deadline for the graduate students or the graduating seniors, or the January deadline for the undergraduates.
And just to follow up on that, a person that's going to start a PhD program in Germany that's starting it, do they apply for the study scholarship? They're eligible for the study scholarship, is that correct? And not because the graduate research scholarship is only for people who are ABD.
Yes, if you're doing a research grant, then it's shorter. If you're ABD, it can be shorter than the full 10 months. And normally the people who are applying for master's or PhD programs, they're initially, I believe, applying just for 1 year. However, they're noting that, they're trying to get accepted into a particular program, and normally they do get funding from the IRD for a second year. Now, for the ones interested in PhD programs, you may want to contact my colleague Myung-Shin Kim. Her email address is Kim, that's Kim, @dad.org, or you can call her at 212-758-3223, and the extension is 210. Or log in next week.
Yeah, next Thursday for the specific graduate student webinar. And then there's also a question I'll just answer quickly that we get a lot is if you don't already know if you're accepted to a program in Germany because you're applying in November for next fall and most people don't have admittance already to a German university, that's fine. We don't expect you to. You just have to show your intention and also show that for the study scholarships that you've had some interaction with a professor or a program already. Another question is, someone wants to know if their letters of recommendation are being sent separately, and if that arrives before the actual rest of the application. Is that a problem?
No, that's not a problem. We file them here, and we later on we match them up with the applications.
Great.
We would, Leslie, sorry for interrupting.
No?
Just make sure that the recommender, writes on the outside, attention, whatever scholarship the student is applying for. We most likely will find the recommendation anyways, but it does help us if they state what scholarship it's for.
Great. The next question is, if somebody's grades are low due to a certain personal issue, is there some way that they can address that to explain why their grades are lower? Is that an appropriate thing to do?
Yes, it's an appropriate thing to do. I would not dwell on the issue, but from my own experience sitting in the selection meetings, if you see that the GPA was great at some point and suddenly went down, or vice versa, that's been improving steadily, the selection committee does take note, and if you do explain why, yes, it's definitely appropriate.
Okay. The next question is a question about the group study visits. I'm wondering if we should just address that separately, or what people look for in the applications for the group study visits.
Yeah, I suggest you talk to Myung-Shin Kim again on this program. I believe there are 2 deadlines or rolling deadlines on the program, and it allows groups of professors to go, professors to go with groups of students, and there are some subsidies for the students available. I suggest you contact Myung-Shin Kim at kim@dad.org.
Great. The next question is about the language requirement form. This person asked, they took the test DAF in Germany at a Volkshochschule, and the person who administrated that test filled out the application form. Is that okay? And maybe you could just talk generally about people that have perhaps taken a Goethe Institute placement test, or how that's done with regards to the language form.
We usually want our language form